The following podcast is sponsored by Luminary Leaders, Sedan Associates, and Connected Women of Influence. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to the podcast. My name is Shelly Harrison, and you're listening to Speaker Central. On this episode, we talk about find your fire in the midst of chaos with my special guest, Heather Hansen O'Neill. Welcome to this episode of Speaker Central, powered by Luminary Leaders. I'm your host, Shelly Harrison. Each week, I open the conversation with my guests to unravel their perspective, solutions, and get into their mindset of business. We break down their expertise to give our audience actionable steps and content to apply in their own businesses. Catch our episodes and subscribe on your favorite podcast channel and follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Our intriguing topic today is find your fire in the midst of chaos. And my special guest on this episode is Heather Hansen O'Neill. Heather is an international speaker, author, adventurer, and entrepreneur using her action-packed experience to fire up audiences. She stimulates vibrant energy, focus, and action for those who want to collaborate effectively, lead change, and achieve massive results. Welcome to the podcast, Heather. I'm so happy to have you here.
Oh, Shelly, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be on with you today.
And me as well, because I know that we've had a few conversations even before we even, arranged for this podcast episode. And I just really loved how authentic you are. And I think we first met via LinkedIn because of the wellness fair that was happening a few months ago.
That's true. And I just loved your energy, and I knew that we were going to be fast friends.
Thank you. And I felt the same. I really do genuinely feel that way. What I would love to do, Heather, is just have you introduce yourself and tell us who Heather is.
Oh, boy. All right. I won't give you the long tail. So
Okay.
I have been in business now, I can't believe I can say this, for 22 years with my Find Your Fire business. And I'm a speaker, as you mentioned. I'm an author, I'm a coach, but mainly what I like to think about is maybe I use different formats to do it. But what I love to do most is to be able to light the inner fire in my clients. And whether it's from a stage for thousands or one-on-one, it doesn't matter to me. I just like to help people find what they are most passionate about and use it to make change in the world.
Wow. And we're going to learn how you do that, because I know the questions that I'm going to have for you are really going to kind of, peel back the onion so that we can better understand who you are and what kind of a coach you are and a speaker. So I would love to start it out with having you answer this question. So you're going to want to fill in the blank. And it's not scary. I just want you to just whatever comes to your mind. So I'm blown away at how my company has, and then fill in the blank.
Oh, that's a great question. So I'm blown away by how my company has been able to adapt to change. Mm-hmm. And I think that, if you look back, one might think that I'm talking about just now, because my company has really been able to adapt to change right now in today's environment. But it's literally been for the last 22 years. There's been a lot of iterations. My business has ebbed and flowed according to what was needed out there. I went from my business immediately skyrocketing because of an amazing mentor to, with lots of travel. It was so exciting, to making a conscious choice to pull it back when I decided to start my family and do more individual coaching, so I didn't have to travel as much. But the beautiful part about it is that as long as you stay present with what your clients need, many businesses can do that.
Oh, yes. And that I love that you say that. And, as far as your mentor, and I don't know how many years ago that was, whether it was in the very beginning of your, of your company, do you want to give the mentor a shout out?
Sure. You know
Okay.
what? I have a great story about it, if you don't mind.
Please
So,
share. Yeah.
oh my
Share with
gosh,
us.
it was amazing. So I was actually in another business. I was in advertising sales, and I was golfing with one of my clients. So this is Richard. He's the mentor. So
Oh,
we were
Richard.
golfing,
Okay.
yes. And golfing is great because it gives you like 5 hours to really build rapport with a client. So we were chit-chatting, and I was telling him this idea that I had. And I don't know, it was about the 15th hole. He's just stopped me and he said, "You have to do this,." And I said, "I'm not sure the company's ready for it." And he goes, No, you're a fireball. You have to do this. And I will be your first paying client. And if you do
Oh,
a great job for me, I will tell everybody. And if you do a terrible job, I won't tell anybody." It
oh,
was an offer I
that's a nice offer.
It is. And he stuck
Yeah.
to it. He told everybody,
Oh,
he's like, "Oh, you got to use Heather. She's amazing." And it was
wow.
such a gift.
Yes, my gosh, you had instant, for him to even offer that out to you, my gosh, that, once you had that experience going through that process, I'm sure that it just every single time it was just, much, more refined and improvement, I
Mhm.
should say, as you went along, right? Because this was a
Yes.
new territory for you.
100%. I don't come from a long line of entrepreneurs. I didn't realize thank goodness, I didn't know all that went into being an entrepreneur before I started, because it would have been a lot more frightening.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but having someone on your side, someone who believes in you really helps to, build your own confidence. So I highly recommend that whoever is listening right now,
Mhm.
reaches out and spends time with people who lift them up, people who are maybe further
Yes.
down the path than they are. I think that's really important.
That's a very good point. And I too, I actually work with a business advisor. And then I also have another advisor on another aspect of my business. And I mean, it really makes such a difference when you know that you're supported and you have mentors and you have people that, really can relate to your story and kind of your vision of where you want to take your company. Or sometimes they help you realize that vision, right?
Right, definitely. Now,
Yeah.
I'm a why person, and it's important for me as a why person to surround myself with how people
Yeah.
that can kind of break it down for me, because I'll go big. I got
Good
a
for
vision,
you. I love that.
but you have to implement in small pieces,
Yeah.
right? So
That's
we have to know where our forte is and surround ourselves with the people who have the strengths in the areas that you don't.
yes. Yeah. And I know that, when you first kind of talked and mentioned that you love to, just help people with their fire. What do you think the one thing is that differentiates you from all the other speakers out there? And, you've been doing this for 22 years, Heather. And I mean, just hands down to you, because my gosh, that is phenomenal that you've been able to sustain, this company and just your business model for so many years. But what is it? What is that one thing, like that it factor that you have to light people on fire? Not
Yeah.
literally light them on
Not
fire, but you know what
literally,
I'm
but like
saying?
from the inside out. Yes, no, but
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
a good question, Shelley. And I think I'm going to answer in two different ways,
Okay.
because it's different when I'm speaking from the stage than when I'm coaching. And
Hmm.
it's really, it's all part of who I am, but maybe it comes across differently. And people will always say, they'll reference my energy, how it's contagious. And so that helps from the stage for sure. But then the
Yeah.
other side of it is my ability to see. I'm a bit of an empath. And
Mm.
so I can cut to what someone is not saying. I can feel what they're feeling underneath the unsaid thing that they should be saying. So I can
Oh, yeah.
get to ask the questions that they need in order to discover how to move forward, or what about them is blocking them, or what is the missing thing that they're shying away from? What are they afraid of? And so
Yeah.
the combination of the two, I think, has really helped me a lot to be more effective in guiding people.
Oh, yes. And what do you think, Heather, is the one thing that most people are afraid of? I mean, what do you see as the common theme when people are in business and they share what their fear is?
Well, they always get there. Sometimes it takes people longer than others, depending on how
Yeah.
many layers of protection they have over themselves, but they always get there. And I think there's two things. One is they're afraid of their own gifts. They're afraid
Mm.
sometimes of the power that they have, and they've perhaps had some of the things with about them dimmed. Like maybe they've lost their confidence. They have more doubt because of mistakes they made, or maybe well-intentioned people telling them, oh, you can't do that. That's not going to work. Or you shouldn't follow that path. That's too scary, or that's too big, or that's not right for you. And throughout our lives, we hear things like this all the time. And when I
We
end up
do.
working with people, right? I'm sure
Yeah.
we've all experienced this. But what happens is we get afraid to put ourselves out there sometimes because of the beliefs of other people. And so
Yeah.
I think helping people to see how amazing they are and the gifts that they
Yeah.
have that are unique is really important. And sometimes it's a little scary putting themselves out there, but when they start to do it, then that builds the confidence. And the other
It
side of it,
does. Yeah.
is that uncertainty.
Uncertainty. Yeah.
Uncertainty. We're in a world that is a little bit uncertain right now.
Yeah, even more so now. Yeah.
Yes. But when we don't know what's going to happen, when we don't know what the future is going to hold, when we don't know if our business is going to fail or succeed, when we don't know if we're going to get the client or not, these are the things that keep us awake at night, right? This
Yeah.
uncertainty. But I found that when people come back to what they do know, the things they are certain of, and what they
Mm.
can control, how they feel about it and how they think about things and how they respond to things. When people can own that and take responsibility for that, that fear tends to recede and they can take action anyway.
Yeah. Gosh, and clients that you work with, what kind of businesses do you really kind of partner with or tend to work with?
Okay, that's a really good question. And I'm going to give you, once again, I'm like the queen of multiple responses. Sorry,
That's okay. No, we want to dig deep.
So, I have a lot of clients in financial services industry,
Uh-huh.
in engineering, things that I do a lot with sales departments and divisions within
Hmm.
organizations. Uh, but there's really no industry that would not apply because what I do is about the human condition. It's about
Yes.
people, right? I help people
Mm-hmm.
lead from the inside out. I help them discover their strengths so that they can navigate change and transition more successfully. And
Yeah.
so that applies to everyone.
And it does. And as far as the industries, when you look at really across the board right now, there are so many companies and organizations that are so, either they're closing their businesses after, so many years, or, they're really having to, cut back on just their staffing, or cut back on some of the other things that they're just so accustomed to having. Where do you feel that after COVID-19, right now we're uncertain what's going to be happening, but where do you think the benefit's going to come from, where companies, that have been going through some really tough times coming out of this? What do you think the benefits are going to be, just from your perspective?
Yeah, that's a really good question too, because I think it depends on what we do each day right now. And
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot going on, granted, and a lot of the people that I'm working with are struggling with they don't want to let their people go, but they need to let some people go, and so there's this conflict. And I think, first of all, the main thing is if your listeners are running a business, I would increase communication instead of decrease it.
Yes.
The biggest thing that comes to me is, I don't know what's going on. I'm in a state of fear as an employee because I'm not hearing what's going on. And our amazing, leaders, they maybe are holding back from communicating because they don't know the answer yet, or they're really trying to give them the good news, but they're not sure that they can yet. I'm just going to encourage you to come from a place of authenticity and tell your people what's going on. Tell them the truth.
Give them the facts.
Yes, they will be so much more loyal, and they will feel so much better and want to do the best job for you and be more productive with you when you give them that gift. And so how we behave now, I'm seeing that there are going to be companies that are so much more successful after this because they've adapted and maybe added an entire new pillar of business that they'll be able to add to their product lines or their services that they have down the road. So there's a lot of growth opportunity here.
There is.
It really is. And for those smaller businesses that are really struggling and they're afraid they may have to close their doors, I would encourage you to look out there for opportunities in collaboration or partnership. Because
that's a good point. That is a very good point.
I have been seeing a lot of success with making connections for people so that they're able to offer more things to their clients, expand their repertoire now, and then be able to withstand the cash flow issues that are happening right now.
Oh, yeah. And, just like you said in the very beginning, in terms of, just every single day makes a difference. And I think the more that they could be present with their team, communicating, whether that's just picking up the phone or, sending a text or something, personalized where they're going to feel these employees will feel, like they're supported. And every single day, I think, some companies are missing out where, they're just stuck. And do you think that, businesses that feel stuck, what are some of the tips that you have, kind of in addition to what you've already mentioned, but what are some of the tips? I know that you have 5 tips for our topic today. So I'm hoping that kind of correlates with, things that businesses can do and put into action now. So what are those 5 tips?
Well, I had mentioned the 5 tips because I was thinking about how we can keep the team productive, right? And the company profitable during all of the chaos that's currently happening. So I thought that might be helpful for your people, but I'm going to add something at the end to specifically answer that question, but I'll go through the tips first.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, the first thing is that for the leaders within the organization, it's most important for you to stay energized and connected to your why, and to not allow the fears to distract you or to be transmitted unwittingly to your people, because people pick up on energy. So it's really important for you to feel yourself as a leader. So that you can come to your people whole and really reconnect them to the why. Like, people want to have meaning in their lives. They want to know that they're doing something that means something.
That's meaningful. Yes.
Really important. The second one I already mentioned, and that's communicating authentically and often. Really important. And then the third one would be to give them tools. A lot of times people in times of challenge will pull back on the things that they most need, right? Things like, I've been very busy right now helping my clients virtually by teaching the people that are working from home how to work from home so that they don't feel there's some specifics of how to present yourself well on Zoom, but that's really not it. It's about the mindset of working from home and how that's different and how you feel isolated and how, if you're not used to that, how you can be productive. Now, I work from home a lot, so I already know how to manage my time really effectively and
yes, you and me both. Yeah.
Right? And that. But people who are not used to this, they are drawn to that Netflix show or the refrigerator that has the unhealthy snacks that, make them want to have a nap at 3 p.m.
Oh,
but
yeah.
There are things that we need to teach them right now and keep them really inspired and productive instead of holding back on those things.
Yeah.
The fourth one is to trust them. I find that in these situations, some people come from a state of, well, I don't know what they're doing at home. And maybe they're, walking the dog or going out to lunch with their friends and, whatever, maybe not going out.
Making assumptions, right? And yeah.
But if you did a good job in your hiring process, then you need to stick with that and trust the people that you hired, give them the tools that they need to trust them. The results will be how you determine what's taking place, right? It doesn't necessarily matter how long it takes them or how they're doing it, as long as they're achieving the results. And the fifth one is being open to what follows. So a lot of creativity can come from these times of challenge when you let people know how to energize and how to release the fear. A lot of creativity and ways of coming up with new services, new products, new ways of serving the client or different clients, a new market. So many outstanding ideas come from challenge. So be open to that and make sure to celebrate the successes that will come. And when it's hard, breathe through it and know that everything is going to be okay. Even when it's not okay that day, it's going to be okay because there have been challenges in the past, right? Things that we went through that we didn't think that we were going to be able to make it through and we did. That's just the thing. Remind yourself of how strong you are. I think is really important too.
Yeah. And I'm feeling that where, when you said it's okay, everything's going to be okay. I mean, I could just imagine how you make your clients feel, because they're having such turbulence right now, really all over the country, and us, being in the kind of the industries that we're in and serving, clients, it's sometimes where you feel like you're part of the, whatever their business is enduring, you almost feel like you're a part of it and you want to just fix it. Do you ever feel that way?
You know what? You totally hit the nail on the head for me, Shelley, because I am very passionate about the event industry. I'm in the event industry, but I also have a lot of clients who happen to be meeting planners or hoteliers, AV people, other speakers. And there is such a feeling right now of our industry. It's your industry too, obviously. Of our industry being in such trouble and it not looking the way that it used to look. And that's okay. There are things that we do when we come together to make it may look different, but as long as we're working and striving toward doing the right things and working together and sharing best practices, that difference may be even better. We don't know, right? We have to have faith and take the actions.
Yes. And I love that you say going back to your why too, because I think a lot of CEOs and business owners, they're really struggling to figure out, why am I doing this? And they need clarity. They need to have someone like you, that can really help them find that fire right within them and have that ignite so that they can really feel good about, this is tough times, no doubt about that. But in the same token, there are people out there that can help support them and get through the tough times and, have them really dig deep so that maybe there is a product in the making, that they don't even see, or perhaps new systems that can be built, right?
Yes. And when you have a leader who you can feel the energy
Mm-hmm.
through what we're doing right now, right? We can feel the energy
Yeah.
virtually. It doesn't necessarily have to be in person. And when the
Mm-hmm.
leadership is in fear and in pain and in lack and, kind of holding on because they're afraid that, of what's going to happen and they may lose things, that energy comes across. And
It does.
And it's
It absolutely does.
100% does, right?
Yeah.
But the same thing happens when you have somebody who is connected to their why, has found that fire, and comes across with the confidence and the belief in their people, and
Wow.
you can feel it, and
Yeah.
that company will be okay.
As you speak, Heather, I just see this speaker in you, and I could just imagine you in front of an audience of thousands of people and really calming everybody down. So, it's just so wonderful to see, the way that you come across, and, as a person and someone that is, doing consulting for, for companies, CEOs and, different business owners. What is it that gets you up in the morning? What is it that just gets you jumping out of bed?
Well, it's going to sound a little bit ridiculous, but I literally love what I do.
I was going to say, don't say coffee.
Yeah,
right?
I do like coffee too, but that's not what gets me out of bed. I love what I do. And I love that I
could tell.
Yeah, it's a little bit that people don't always like to see me too early in the morning because I don't actually need the coffee. I like the taste of it, but I'm a morning person. And so I kind of hop out of bed because I have purpose. And what I love is I love getting an email or a phone call from someone who tells me that something that I said or did impacted a decision or an action that they took, and things are better now. That is so amazing for me. I love that so.
Yeah. Give us an example of, and you don't have to say the name of the client, but just give us an example, because I'd love to have our audience hear that.
Okay.
And I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Oh, no, it's okay. I have a bunch of them, but I'm going to leave.
Okay.
I'm saying that like from a state of pure gratitude. Like I am
sure. I know.
So grateful for the people that I spend time with. So there's one that stands out to me because it made me cry. I'm going to try to refrain from crying at this moment.
Yeah, that's okay. Because on this show, I love vulnerability, and we're trying to get to the core of this interview. So.
Okay, well, I won't hold back. But so I was speaking at Inbound. Are you familiar with Inbound?
I am familiar with Inbound.
Okay, so I was speaking at Inbound. And I was talking, I was doing a program on fear, and it was called Fear, the Number One Killer of Sales. So it was to salespeople about overcoming fear. And I had mentioned in the presentation how if one person walks away changed, I will feel like there was a reason, like that I was doing a good job that day. Right. Yeah. And so at the end of the program, I had a line of people that wanted to talk to me afterward.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all.
It surprised me because, it's such a busy conference and there were 20,000 people there. But there was this one woman, the first one who made it up to the stage, she was crying.
Oh.
She was crying and she said, I'm your person. She said, I'm your person. So you can feel good about what you did today because what you said changed me. And I'm going to make a very big life decision right now that's different than what I thought I was before I walked in here an hour ago.
Oh my gosh.
And then we followed up later. She sent me a beautiful email about how it worked out. And, that's it. That's it right there. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And how did that make you feel though? The moment that she came up to you and said that, just after giving this, this terrific presentation and then have someone come up that quick and make it beeline it to the stage, right? And talk to you.
It was really beautiful because, I love, I do a lot of virtual presentations and I
Mhm.
enjoy them, but it's just not the same as when the energy that you receive back from a live audience. But then it goes
Yeah.
even deeper when you can then talk one-on-one with someone that you
Yeah.
were, from the audience, and we embraced. We're like, I didn't know her before that moment, and we're like hugging and we're both crying. It
Oh,
was so, it was so ridiculous.
yes. It
But
was a tender moment. And you really, that's called transformation. I mean, that is just instant transformation because she came in with one idea and you were able to shift her mindset so that she made another decision, totally different decision.
yes, yeah. And I'm so glad it ended up working out well for her. The email afterward, because sometimes you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, you kind of were like, oh boy, did it backfire? I could imagine that
It was
happening to
good.
you
It was
though. Yeah. Oh, this has been great, Heather. And we're coming to the end of the show. And I know now you are not in California. You are coming to
No,
us from
I am in Connecticut right now.
yes.
Yeah, so I'm a couple of hours ahead of you. Trust me, the next couple of hours are going to be beautiful.
Oh, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will.
But
um,
I am do like work virtually like this now all over the world. That's one of the
yes.
benefits of what's going on right now is that
Oh,
you can
yeah.
touch more people.
You can. And I've even, I had, gosh, two or three Zoom meetings with people from Canada, one from, I mean, just all over the world. It's like, wow, but I had to be up early in the morning or they had to be up early in the morning. It just depends on where they're at in the country.
Mhm.
But wow, it's just exciting to know that we could still connect and we could still make these wonderful, and actually that's how you and I met. We met kind of during
Ah,
COVID-19,
yes, it was right
really,
at
if you
the
think about
beginning.
it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was just coming on, I think is when it was just starting. And I know that, we'll be in contact for years to come because I want to
Sure.
follow you. So,
And
and
vice
I,
versa. You're doing
oh,
amazing things, Shelley.
oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Heather. I think that together, we could absolutely do some phenomenal things for others and, for each other. And I know you have your podcast show. I want to give a plug to your podcast show. So tell us the name of your podcast show.
Sure. It's called From Fear to Fire. And it's about, I interview people who have gone through challenge and what the lessons that they learned so that the people who are listening can learn vicariously through them how to break through fear. And I can't
Yeah.
wait to have you on my show.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that. Yes, we'll have to schedule that. I will definitely take you up on that because I'd love to just, have more time with you too. Quality time.
And it'll be fun.
Yeah. Yes. So, Heather, tell us one thing or primary thing that we can have our listeners take away from your talk today and your interview.
Oh, okay. I would say that you get to choose. I think that a lot of times people forget how much power they have of their choice and they kind of give it
Mm,
up and they allow other things, external situations, pandemics, other people's opinion, the weather, the economy, they
mhm,
allow all kinds of things outside of themselves to infect their state. And I just want to
mhm.
encourage listeners to remember that you get to choose. That bad
Yes.
things happen every day and good things happen every day. That, challenge occurs and beautiful moments occur. And that, you get to choose how you think and how you feel and how you respond. And you get to choose what you believe, even if you may have been given certain beliefs as you're growing up from your experiences and different things that you've learned.
Yeah.
You get to choose the beliefs that lift you up, that empower you, that serve you and others. You don't have to fall prey to the negativity around you.
Wow. I love that we ended on this. That is such great advice. And I can't wait to do the show notes too, because, I'm going to really take some of the comments that you've made and we'll use some hashtags from some of the words that you've used. This was wonderful, Heather. And thank you so much for being on the show. And, I know it's a little bit later where you are. And by
Oh,
the
that's
time,
fun.
Yeah, by the time this airs, people can listen to it at their convenient time. So thank you for joining today. And I just wanted to say that on Monday, I know that this will come out after the episode will. On Monday, July 20th, I am so excited because Luminary Leaders is launching a new program, and it's called Speaker Central. And it's been in the works for 3 years, and we're finally launching it. And I'm very excited, and I haven't even mentioned it before on the show. Speaker Central is the name of the podcast, but now we're going to have a membership for speakers across the country to join our community and be a part of Luminary Leaders and the work that we're doing. And, Heather, again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Shelley. You are amazing, and keep up the amazing work that you're doing. And I'm definitely going to encourage people to take a look at Speaker Central because I'm sure it's got a ton of value.
Oh, thank you. And ditto for you too, Heather. I mean, it's just been wonderful, our connection. And I want to be able to have people check out this episode on all of your favorite podcast channels or any of your favorite podcast channels. Also on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And at this point, I'd like to say thank you. And we're checking out.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Hey everyone, did you enjoy this episode? If you did, please feel free to subscribe to Speaker Central.